A 17-year-old boy with blood-red hair by the name of Noriaki Kakyoin wakes up after having a rather odd dream about him being in an amusement park and a dog being brutally killed right in front of his very eyes. After experiencing that truly haunting nightmare, he notices a cut on his hand that closely resembles the one that he received in his dream. Odd. Kakyoin walks outside this hotel with his associate, a Frenchman by the name of Jean-Pierre Polnareff, only to find the very same dog from his dream dead in the street, killed in the same exact way. Double odd. This group of men are on their way out of a Middle Eastern country via plane, and Kakyoin notices a baby that they must now take with them on the plane, since the baby must see a doctor immediately. Kakyoin remembers hearing a baby's cries during his dream. Triple odd. On their flight, Kakyoin and Polnareff decide to take a quick power nap. In turn, they share the same dream of the amusement park, with the same dead dog next to them. Kakyoin is much more alarmed by this than Polnareff is, with Polnareff insisting that since it's just a dream, nothing matters. Just then, a megaphone protrudes from the dog's wound, stating that Polnareff is a dumb, stupid idiot and should have caught on to this by now. The Stand, which is the name of people's abilities in this anime, emerges from the dog, grabbing Polnareff by the neck. Kakyoin nor Polnareff can summon their own stands to stop this. However, Polnareff is woken up by Joseph Joestar, the current plane driver, and he tells Polnareff that he has to change the little idiot's diaper. Just like Kakyoin this morning, Polnareff cannot remember anything that happened within their dream. Nobody's aware that Kakyoin is in serious trouble. Suddenly, Kakyoin in the real world starts having genuine night terrors, causing him to inadvertently kick Joseph in the face, allowing the plane to spiral out of control. Back in the dream, the Stand tells Kakyoin that the baby that they've taken with them is the Stand user all along. With this info, Kakyoin cuts into his arm a message within the dream to show the others in the real world that the baby is the user. If he makes it out of this alive, of course. Joseph manages to save the crew just in time by using his own ability to right the plane. While celebrating, however, they crash into a palm tree that somehow exists in the middle of the Saudi Arabian desert. This wakes Kakyoin up, saving him from certain death. As the group sets up camp in the desert that night, Kakyoin notices blood coming from his arm. Clueless, he pulls up his sleeve, revealing the message that he left for himself within the dream, with the message simply saying, "Baby stand," or
Baby, stand up.
Kakyoin looks up to see the baby deliberately staring right at him. He then catches on to what's going on. What I just described to you is a single episode within one of my favorite animes. Now, if you've never seen this anime before, what's one word that you could use to describe this situation? Ah, what am I kidding? You know what this anime is. So, if you're watching this and you have no idea what JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is, or maybe your friend sent you this video in order to introduce you to the anime, wow, that is a lot of trust that you have in me to try and describe this beast to you. But I mean, here on the Buck Schmuck channel, anything is possible. So, where do I even begin? Let's just go all the way back to 1986. Manga artist Hirohiko Araki was hard at work trying to come up with a new manga to hit the shelves in Japan. He had just had immense success with his recent hit of Bao, which just recently ended a year prior. So, Araki sat down and thought, what if I created a manga that followed two boys and their beef that would span generation upon generation, ultimately leading up to a timeline reset where I could just start all over again? That's exactly what he said. I was there when he said it. With that idea, he would create JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, with its first volume releasing in the weekly Shonen Jump on January 1st, 1987. So, with that very humble beginning out of the way, let's lay out some ground rules. This manga and anime is split up into individual parts. Every part has its own different main character and different villain to coincide with them. There might be some overlap between parts with characters appearing in different parts, with some playing more important roles than others, but overall, every part is unique. The parts are as follows. Part 1, Phantom Blood. Part 2, Battle Tendency. Part 3, Stardust Crusaders. Part 4, Diamond is Unbreakable. Part 5, Golden Wind. Part 6, Stone Ocean. Part 7, Steel Ball Run. Part 8, JoJo Leon. And finally, the part that is currently still circulating, Part 9, the JoJo Lands. Let me introduce our main characters as well. We have JoJo, 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 and finally, JoJo. Yeah, so every main character in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is somehow connected to the same family, the Joestar family. You could tell because they all have this super cool and awesome star birthmark on the back of their left shoulder. You know, this is a super awesome tattoo idea. I wonder if anyone out there's gotten it before. Anyways, part 1 follows Jonathan Joestar. You could see where the JoJo comes from now. See, Joe, yeah, okay. Against his arch nemesis, Dio Brando. Throughout this part, you'll come to see how pure of heart and gentlemanly Jonathan is, and how much of a f***ing asshole Dio is. Dio is just the embodiment of pure evil, and it's a great contrast to a pure soul like Jonathan. This part's, as well as part 2's, main ability is Hamon. To all of you part skippers out there who started at part 3, since parts 1 and 2 are just too boring for you, Hamon is a breathing technique where the user could channel the sun's power into extremely powerful attacks, and could even allow them to walk on water. Dio, being the evil mastermind that he is, procures the Joestar's prized possession of a mask that turns people into vampires, and essentially becomes immortal from using it on himself. Oh no, whatever shall Jonathan do? Oh god, I wonder what's a main key weakness of vampires. Oh my god, it's the sun. How convenient that Jonathan is learning how to use Hamon. Antics ensue. Part 2 follows Joseph Joestar, grandson of Jonathan Joestar. What happened to Jonathan's son and Joseph's dad? Who cares? Joseph finds himself also learning Hamon to go up against vampires as well. However, these vampires don't come from the mask itself, but they straight up made the mask to begin with. Because of course they did. The 3 main enemies of Joseph call themselves the Pillarmen, led by the ultimate lifeform, no, not him, Cars. Oh, also this takes place in the late 1930s, so are there too. Antics ensue. Part 3 stars Jotaro Kujo. See, JoJo is still there. And he's Joseph's grandson. The main villain in this part is... Wait, oh my god. Wait, it's Dio again? It's Dio again? Yep, Dio is back and better than ever. Will I explain why he's here? Nope. Those are spoilers. Read it for yourself. Or watch it. In this part, the ability of Hamon is swapped out for a more creative and open-ended category of ability called stands. Stands are a visual manifestation of life energy from a user, whether the person or animal is good or evil. Stands can only be seen by other stand users. Normal people aren't able to see them. So every fight from part 3 onward would basically look like this to an average person. Some stands are really good at beating people up. Some could stop time. Some could speed up time. Some could see the future. Some can only be activated when you die. Some stands make people switch bodies. Some stands make you want to kill yourself. Some stands do basically nothing except give moral support. Others just show you how you're going to die. The list is basically endless. As well as this, starting mainly in part 4, many of the stands are named after musical references, whether they be albums, songs, or band names. The only issue is that in America, they can't really use these names because of copyright laws. Therefore, they had to adjust the names a little bit in order to bypass these laws in the States. For example, the stand Made in Heaven turns into Made in Heaven. Sticky Fingers turns into Zipper Man. Limp Bizkit was originally turned to Flaccid Pancake for the video games, but was adjusted to Limp Bizkit for the anime adaptation that came after. Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap turns into Filthy Acts at a Reasonable Price. This one's the most insane in my eyes, but you gotta do what you gotta do, I suppose. Where was I? Oh, right, part 3. Yeah, so it's Jotaro with his grandfather, Joseph Joestar, and Jotaro's buddies, Noriaki Kakyoin, Jean-Pierre Polnareff, Mohammed Avdal, and Iggy the dog, up against Dio. Many, many antics ensue. Part 4 stars Josuke Higashikata, with his stand, Crazy Diamond. Thank you, Pink Floyd. Wait, where's the second Joe? Wait, he's not a Joe. What? Oh my god. Josuke is Joseph's son, which makes him Jotaro's uncle. It's a long story. This part's villain is kinda a complicated one. It starts with a random guy named Angelo, then it shifts to a guy with a hand fetish named Yoshikage Kira, who's 33 years old. His house is in the northeast section of Morio, where all the villas are, and he is not married. He works as an employee for the Kameyu department stores, and he gets home every day by 8 p.m. at the latest. He doesn't smoke, but he occasionally drinks. He's in bed by 11 p.m., and he makes sure to get 8 hours of sleep, no matter what. After having a glass of warm milk and doing about 20 minutes of stretches before going to bed, he usually has no problem sleeping until morning. Just like a baby, he wakes up without any fatigue or stress in the morning. He was told there were no issues at his last checkup. He's trying to explain that he's a person who wishes to live a very quiet life. He takes care not to trouble himself with any enemies, like winning and losing. That would cause him to lose sleep at night. That is how he deals with society, and he knows that is what brings him happiness. Although, if he were to fight, he wouldn't lose to anyone. What was I talking about? Oh, right. It then goes from Yoshikage Kira to Kusaku Kawajiri, which is actually just Yoshikage Kira, but in disguise. So, at the end, it's Josuke, Jotaro, a very old Joseph, and Josuke's friends, or tolerators, of Okuyasu Najimura, Koichi Hirose, and Rohan Kishibe, versus Yoshikage Kira. That's basically part 4 without getting too much into it, which I would love to get more into it because this is my favorite part out of all of them. Part 5 switches it up a bit by introducing the new main character of Giorno Giovanna with his stand Gold Experience. Thanks, Prince. See, it's technically JoJo, but it's just Gio, which is like kind of the same pronunciation wise, but whatever. Giorno is actually the son of Dio. You may be asking, how is he a Joestar if he's Dio's son? Man, watch the anime and maybe you could find out. Giorno's main adversary in this part is the big Italian mob boss of Diavolo. Yeah, this part takes place in Italy. Giorno is out to overtake the big boss man because he hates all of the corruption and nastiness of the Italian Mafia. He wants to be a gang star. So, Giorno and his colleagues of Bruno Bucciarati, Leona Bacchio, Guido Mista, Narancia Gurga, Panicotta Fugo, Trish Una, which is Diavolo's daughter, and a turtle that definitely doesn't have an important supporting character from a previous part inside of it, versus Diavolo. Part 6 has us follow Jolene Cujo, Jotaro's daughter, with her stand Stone Free. Thanks, Jimi Hendrix. You may be asking, why is her last name Cujo and not Cujo? Well, Jotaro Kujo is not a very good father, and I'll leave it at that. Jolene's a little stinker and ended up in jail. She was framed. There she befriends a whole bunch of people, like Hermes Castello, Foo Fighters, don't ask, Emporio El Nino, Weather Report, also don't ask, and Narciso Anasui. The main villain is Enrico Pucci, who is a priest at the prison. Okay. Pucci is one of Dio's last. Oh my god, wait. Dio cannot be here again, man. Oh my god, it always comes back to Dio. Pucci is driven by his need to attain heaven, which is basically just wiping out the entire Joestar bloodline. Pretty simple, honestly. Before I get to part 7, after part 6, the entire timeline kinda resets itself after. So if you've never seen any of the other parts, you could go into part 7 without any real background knowledge, which is awesome because part 7 comes out on Netflix in like 2 months. So, part 7 stars Johnny Joestar. See the parallels? With his stand, Tusk. Thank you, Fleetwood Mac. In this giant horse race that spans the entirety of the United States of America. Why is Johnny in it? Because he wants to be able to walk. He's a cripple. Johnny's now best friend, Gyro Zeppeli, uses a brand new technique to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, spin. Basically, he spins steel balls really fast. In other words, he makes steel balls run. The Dio counterpart, Diego Brando, isn't really a main villain in this part, but you know, he's there. The main villain of this part is Funny Valentine, the literal president of the United States of America. 23rd to be exact. He wants Gyro and Johnny dead because they're hunting after parts of a corpse that Valentine also wants for himself. Whose corpse is it? Oh, you know, it's just Jesus Christ himself's. It's also very heavily implied that Jesus was a stand user, but you know, that's neither here nor there. Part 8 follows Josuke Higashikata with his stand Soft and Wet. Thank you, Prince, again. No, not that one. They're not the same. Most people in the community just call him Gappy or Josuke. Get it? Josuke. Josuke in this part is basically a guy that was like buried under a wall, and a girl, Yasuho Hirose, yeah, they turned Koichi into a woman, finds him, and he can't remember his name, so she just names him Josuke. The main villain in this part is a guy named Toru, who isn't actually based off of anyone in the original timeline. His stand, Wonder of You, is probably the most overpowered stand in all of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Even thinking about pursuing Wonder of You or Toru makes the person suffer a calamity. So basically, if you even think about coming after Toru in any shape or form, you die. Part 9 is still running as of this video coming out, and it follows Joe Dio Joestar, grandson of this timeline's Joseph, with his stand November Rain. Thank you, Guns N' Roses. Also, he's like 15 years old. Ugh. The main villain in this part is a guy named Haka Howler, with his stand, okay, so as of recording this video, his stand's name hasn't been revealed yet, so, Yeah, basically, Mr. Howler here is a CEO of a big old company, and Joe Dio doesn't really like him all that much. I'm gonna be honest, I know close to nothing about this part because I haven't really read it yet, but I'm sure it's pretty good. So those are brief introductions to all the parts. Hey, well, that's all fine and dandy, why should I watch the anime? Or read the manga? Anyways, well, I am so glad you asked, good gentle sir. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure as an overarching story is amazing. Have you ever hated someone so much that you wish that you could just curse their entire family bloodline and somehow haunt them forever? Well, that's basically JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. The journey through an entire bloodline twice over is a story that you just can't find anywhere else. As well as this, while the overall episode count at the current moment is a bit hefty, at least it isn't that. And even then, you don't need to watch every part. Do I highly recommend starting from the beginning? Of course I do. Is it completely necessary? Not really. You could start watching part 6 without any real knowledge of things that might have happened in part 1, besides maybe knowing that Dio exists. The art in the manga and the animation quality in the anime are both top tier as well. The painstaking detail that Araki puts into his artwork, and the level of detail that the team over at David Productions puts into the anime, in most cases, is impeccable. Like, look at these panels, and look at this animation. Beautiful. Nobody on the entire cast, main or supporting character, feels shallow or out of place either. Joseph is physically in 3 straight parts, and is mentioned in 2 parts after that. Not a single time did I ever sit back and say, man, Joseph is here way too much, because he just fits in so well. You could say the same thing about most characters, like Jotaro. Finally, the music. Whether it be orchestral pieces or licensed music for openings and credits, always hits, no matter the context. The opening for part 1, Sonochi no Sadame, is probably one of the most recognizable things from the entirety of that part. Either that or Dio killing Jonathan's dog. At the end of the episode, the audience is blessed with the creation of the now severely overused meme of... And this song, again, is one of the most recognizable aspects of part 1 and part 2. They reuse it for part 2. In part 3, since they're making a journey to Egypt, they play Walk Like an Egyptian by the Bangles. No, not those Bangles. If we jump all the way to part 5, one of the freakiest songs of all time is the outro song, Freakin' You by Jodechi. Just look at these lyrics. We as a fan base could only hope that either Horse with No Name or Ventura Highway, both by the band America, are the outro songs for the Steel Ball Run anime. That's kind of the whole gist of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I highly suggest that, at the very least, you give the anime a chance. Buying manga in America is very expensive these days. It may not have the crazy widespread appeal that animes like My Hero Academia, One Piece, Jujutsu Kaisen, or like, I don't know, Dragon Ball Z has, but it's by far my favorite anime, and it surely won't disappoint you. If you enjoyed this video, I plan on doing full part recaps in the very near future, so if you want to see that, make sure to subscribe and like the video. It really helps in the long run. If this is your first exposure to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, I am so sorry that this is how you had to learn about it, but I do hope that it enticed you to give it a try. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!